മനോരമ ഓൺലൈൻ ചുറ്റുവട്ടം അവാർഡ്സിന്റെ ഈ ഉദ്ഘാടന പരിപാടിയിൽ ഉദ്ഘാടനം നിർവഹിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ മുഖ്യാതിഥി ശ്രീമതി മേധ പട്കറാണ്. വളരെ സ്നേഹപൂർവ്വം ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു.
Respected Mayor Madam Veena Philip ji, the first citizen of the city, Mr. M.K. Raghavan ji, even if in absentia, as he has to leave for Wayanad, but he is your elected representative, and Mr. Asher from the Malabar Gold, which is glittering and glamoring, and all of you, including the organizers of this event, coordinator of the environmental works of Manorama online, and Malayalam Manorama's all editors, sub-editors. I've seen the great organizational structure. And also my dear friends, students of this school, and representatives of various residents association. We have C.R. Neelakandan with us. I have a young lawyer, Adhina, from Green Salsabil School, now working for the labor rights. They are also with me. I'm really pleased and feel privileged to be here for such a campaign, I would say, which has become in a way a ground level mass movement. Movement is not just a non-governmental organization. It is something that creates a momentum in our hearts and amongst our neighborhoods. And that is what is being achieved through the Chuttuvattom project that is taken up by Malayalam Manorama. We know that in this constitution, we always had the Panchayati Raj, the three-tier organizational structure, which is called as local self-government. And that's a very important concept. But we have found that even though we are celebrating Amrit Mahotsav and we are taking up Tiranga in our hands, across India we see that the real community-based activism is not as high as in Kerala. So I salute those who are a part of Residents Association and or those who are supporting this tier of the not lowest but the first panchayat, that is Resident Association. I call it a panchayat because unless you have a kind of cooperative structure, unless the people in the neighborhood, maybe on this road and that road, and few families coming together, as is there in C.R. Neelakandan's Ernakulam city, unless they come together and really feel committed to achieve certain forms of justice, social, economic, and even political. And what I mean by political, I will explain later. But unless this commitment is seen and comes up in the hearts and in the vision of the residents, who are not just residents, who are citizens, who are not just voters, who are voter citizens, as Upendra Bakshi used to tell the judges in our case of the Supreme Court standing in front of them. My Lord, these Adivasis in the Narmada Valley, these farmers, these laborers are voter citizens. So that gives the first right, and that is what is promoted through this kind of campaign and scheme by Malayalam Manorama. And I therefore really congratulate them and salute them all. It is also very important that the residents' associations have chosen certain tasks and certain processes. And the tasks also are addressing the goals of equity and justice. As Mr. Raghavan just said, that even today, we do not see following this constitution to ensure fundamental rights to every citizen in this country. When there are people on the footpath, less in Kerala, more in Delhi. If you cross a road in Delhi, you will find the old, thin, tired woman sitting with her two, maybe grandson and granddaughter, with the chatai, spread mat on the footpath. She goes for work the whole day and she comes back even in the rainy season to sleep on the footpath. She doesn't get a ration card if she doesn't have any document to prove that she is a citizen of this country. So imagine what is the kind of inequity that still exists. But when a community leadership, through a residents' association, a panchayat, a municipal corporation, a municipality, takes up the task to see that no one faces hunger in their community, that is the greatest job that is to be performed, because the state is duty bound and we all are also duty bound to see that no human being faces hunger in our country. Do you agree with me? Yes? And even if they get a ration card, 5 kg, how many days? 8 days maximum, not more than that. So there is a lot of publicity given to the various government schemes, but even to get those schemes implemented and to ensure that no one is hungry, no one is thirsty, is something that can happen, be achieved only even if a few persons from a community really feel at their heart that it is their duty to see that they are eating, but others are not hungry. And today, we also see that the thirst for water is also not fulfilled everywhere. Your state is comparatively a smaller one. It is 1/3 of just one river valley of Narmada in area. But Kerala is known for a beautiful and a bountiful state. The greenery that is saved, each house in the rural area that has or used to have a small pond, everything was really the basis for maintaining the natural resource base. And as Mr. Raghavan again said, can we survive without oxygen? No. Many richest people died of oxygen during pandemic. Now, what was that corona and what was it not? I don't get into that. But what is important is that these are the green ventilators which help us to survive. It can't be those white ventilators which really loot the poor people in many private hospitals also. So it is necessary to see that no one is thirsty. How would that happen? If the rivers are dying, if rivers are facing flood and cycle, if river valleys do not have forest, which was there earlier, then how will the rains that come for a few months be flowing through the river continuously? We were day before in Wayanad for the whole day. It was a heart-breaking scenario. The rivers that flows with water, whether it is Ganges, whether it is Periyar, whether it is Chalakudi, whether it is Chaliyar, whether it is Narmada or Godavari. But now they were taking human bodies, dead bodies up to 15 kilometers. And why? Because rivers are full with such huge rocks which flew when the torrential rains came and the landslides occurred. Now, all this is happening due to what is something that you must study. How many of you have WhatsApp? Please raise your hands. How many of you use WhatsApp? Please, all of you. But don't only look at what's up, look at what's down. But you can get knowledge through this digital media. Okay? Those are double-edged sword. Sometimes you feel confused seeing the great advertisements, big advertisements, not only of jewelries, but also of sending the students abroad. That is promoted. But if you look at the down and what is happening to the villagers, to the Adivasis, then you will find that in Wayanad they were living with forest, with wildlife. Why is wildlife disturbed and coming on the street, and there is a conflict between the humans and animal? You know this? Elephants are coming on the streets and so on. Have you heard of that? But this conflict is created because the Adivasis are peripheralized and the wildlife also is displaced. Both are facing similar problems. So my friends, it is necessary to understand what is the nature and human relationship that has helped all of us survive till today. Jala hai to jeevan hai. If there is water which is unpolluted, when Narmada is totally polluted, I have test reports that say that this water is not fit for any kind of human consumption. But people gather in large number on the Narmada Jayanti. Pujan karte hain, naman karte hain, par manan nahi karte hain. Periyar also gets polluted. When the houseboats run in the rivers, those also lead to pollution. This is in the judgment of the Supreme Court. You have to therefore look at what is happening around you. And that is the great task I know that the Residents Association are doing. It is the great work of water harvesting. If we only have the big dams and not decentralized water management, how will we keep the rivers Aviral and Nirmal flowing and unpolluted is a big question. Many people feel that big dams only will give water to everyone. But we followed the path of United States of America, and since 1994 they stopped building big dams. I was one of the commissioners of World Commission on Dams, and their chief told me, Daniel Beard, that madam, we are not stopping building dams for saving a salmon fish. We want to save the whole river valley, which is the real ecosystem. Today they have decommissioned 1951 dams in USA. European countries have decommissioned 4,000 and more dams in their countries. So many people who have some kind of hallucination about how the big structures or even the embankments, in the name of flood control, Bihar has built so many walls around. But that has not stopped flooding. This year, the Kosi River, where the water comes from the Himalayan rivers, with flood, with silt, and it gets filled, and then the water up to 7 lakh cusecs, flood all the villages around. What is it that they face? They are for breaking those embankments. So somehow, just see, it is a mother river. But think of a river like a young girl. If she wants to go somewhere on the path in her life, or marry someone with real kind of honest relationship, and if the parents or the family members tie her because she's not listening to a pillar, what will happen? She will break it and flow. Same thing happens to the river. When the forest is holding on to the soil, but when the deforestation takes place, to plant eucalyptus, to plant certain trees, no doubt those trees also give cardamom or pepper in the Western Ghats region like Wayanad. But that doesn't last long when they get devastated because the soil in that fragile area comes down as landslides. What is happening in Uttarakhand? What is happening in Himalayas? I cannot explain everything. But that is why the decision related to what is development and what is destruction, what is required for fulfilling the basic needs of the people in our own neighborhood, which is to be the priority. It is not to get the big industries and big machines and big highways and flyovers that can feed everyone and that can really give a source of livelihood. You know what livelihood means, right? Means a job, work that will help them earning. And those who have these human resources, those who have these natural resources, need to be saved with their own culture, which has saved nature as well. So when it is profit, 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 profit over people, profit over nature, that becomes the definition of development, then development becomes destructive. We are not against any and every project, not at all. But if a big tunnel is built in Uttarakhand's Himalayan mountain, what happens? Everywhere the tunnels are causing destruction. So if we think of any tunnel in any region of Western Ghats, we must really learn about the impacts. Impacts are to be studied. You kind of young people can learn how to assess before the project is planned, and the same is true about the residents association. You have certainly in your residency number of educated youths. What is the orientation, what is the motivation that you give to them is what matters. When many youths are going abroad, leaving their parents behind, I really feel shattered. But you are, through these kinds of campaigns, are taking care of even the old aged people. Mr. Varghese was saying that Kerala is an aging state. I said, what? Every state is aging. Every human, face aging. But that time we have hopes in the younger generation, in our children. If the children just fly away, it is nothing different than the migrant laborers who were walking 1,700 and 2,000 kilometers from Mumbai to Uttar Pradesh, from Mumbai to Orissa. We had to sit on fast at the border of Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh and stop it. We did not allow anyone to really carry the blisters in their feet and also the burden on their shoulders, with children, with women, and walking back to their parents. This should not happen as changing relationships between parents and children. And what Mr. Raghavan said, I also want to come to that. The liquor that has become a business for many state governments. I don't know how much is Kerala earning from that. But I was surprised to hear the figures of thousands of crores for every state, whether it is Andhra Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh. Our Madhya Pradesh has become Madhya Pradesh. The liquor shops are glittering. And the whole policy that is brought is really affecting every Adivasi village. And that must be affecting the non-Adivasi residents associations, communities also. Please take it up as your goal. In Punjab, our Nasha Mukta Bharat Andolan held a big street-filled public meeting. They were stopping the organizers from erecting the pandal on the streets. We didn't know where the meeting was planned, but thousands of people came. Why? Because Punjab, which is considered otherwise as a bountiful state in different terms, but have the Satluj with such black colored water flowing as effluents and totally polluted. I was invited for that. But we had to fight for Nasha Mukti by saying that your Chief Minister Bhagwantrao Mann was an addict. But then he left drinking and then he became Chief Minister. So he can save the youths of Punjab also. They are also dependent on drugs, which are also spreading in Kerala, is something that is unacceptable and heartbreaking. We know Kerala as the topmost state on the basis of Human Rights Index. We know Kerala as the state where the district planning process started. Today, the sixth schedule is the demand of the Ladakh because they want the decision making to come at the district level, and then without their consultation, which is equal to consent as one of the Supreme Court judgments. There should be no development project that will spoil their lands, that will have an impact on the Himalayas where the glaciers, ice is already melting. They are facing both heat, humidity, but also floods. So they are asking the right for the district planning. And in Kerala, this was the first beginning here. I know that many state governments send their teams to Kerala to learn that. So the Residents Association, which is a smaller unit than the district unit, is the first and the foremost unit at which state or stage the development planning should take place. And if we read the Article 243 for the urban areas and 244 for the rural areas, which was brought in by Rajiv Gandhi, when he himself has written down, which I read before the Supreme Court, that the money that starts from Delhi as 1 rupee, only 10 paisa reaches the down level. Why? Everything is looted or wasted. And he said that's why the technocratic power only will not help in bringing the real development. It is the power to people that needs to be granted. And that was the concept of Mahatma Gandhi ji also. The Gram Swaraj doesn't mean that Gram will be fully self-sufficient, but at least self-reliance with the proper prioritization, proper decision in development planning is something that should be in the hands of the community. And community should not be communal, should not be casteist, should not be gender-based discriminatory. When you as Residents Association, I'm told, are performing good jobs in more than 1,000 or more than that communities, I salute you and I really expect that you will follow the path of the guideline given by the fundamental rights and directive principles that are underlined in this constitution. This is very, very important. When you are not just carrying on plantation, you have the right and you are performing the task of saving nature. Now, how to save nature? Through simplicity, through right kinds of priorities, and not to allow the natural resources to be commodities for sale and purchase. If that happens, 1,500 scientists are giving us warning that humanity will come to an end. And this is what is happening. The America, USA kind of this thing is contributing 15 times more to the climate change, to the global warming. And who face it? Those who can sit in the air condition do not face it as much as our construction laborers who build the building. Everything, the mining, quarrying, has to be within limits. The housing construction should be in the proper technology. When I saw your school, I was very happy. These kinds of old structures were really based on more on the local material. And that was what was the Gandhiji's dream. I really feel, yes, I really feel that time is up. But this is the time to save nature, to save humanity, and to save earth also. Greta Thunberg, a young girl like you, who stands before the World Trade Organization, and she says that no one should travel by air because the transport also creates. Now, sometimes we all have to take help of that transport. We were given a vehicle by Malayalam Manorama to travel from Wayanad to Kochi and then back to Kottayam, and then we had to take a train to Kozhikode. But what is happening today? Thousands of cars coming on the streets, thousands. And many people traveling by air, even if it is just 3 hours distance. K-Rail kind of big projects, bullet train in Maharashtra, all are coming up. Everywhere those who are affected are questioning and challenging. But every residents association, when you decide what should happen in your community, to your land, water, forest, your minerals, whether it is sand or stones, you have the first right to take your own decision. And for that, it is necessary to have not just expertise, but visionaries. And you are the visionaries. When the Residents Association have played a great role in food security to waste management, it's really very, very, very important. And Kerala is a state which has raised that issue of waste management more than many other states. But how to manage waste? There are a number of things that we can discuss, but today hardly any time. But when you find your own technology, you have to look back and look forward. You have to look at the traditional culture where the waste was minimum. Plastic waste was not seen flowing in the rivers and the sea. But today, it is everywhere. And if you burn the plastic, it pollutes air. So how to really manage that waste? How to really make agriculture organic? You have to take it up, and you can take it up, my friends. You have that right and you have that spirit. And that spirit must save our country and the earth. And Nalla Patham kind of scheme that is taken up by Malayalam Manorama, and number of readers that they have for their publications, not less than 1 crore offline reading Malayalam Manorama, and 15 lakh online is a great achievement. So reaching out to the maximum people who are not only the students of WhatsApp community or WhatsApp university, but are reading and receiving and conserving that material, which was the practice. I think a kind of readership movement must be started. So there are a number of things on which a movement can take up. And there are also the Palatulli kind of, campaign, which is also very important, as I said, for harvesting water. Decentralized water management with land and forest taken together, because nature has integrity. Nature doesn't have caste, religion, divisions. They are all together. So this is what we learn from the rivers. Nadiya na piye kabhi apna jal. Rivers don't drink own water. Vriksha na khaye kabhi apna fal. Trees don't eat one's own fruits. Apne tanaka manaka dhanaka duje ko de jo daan re. वो सच्चा इंसान रे इस धरती का भगवान रे. These are the 4 lines we say as a prarthana, part of our prarthana in Narmada Andolan. And all the activists then feel motivated to carry on the struggle, which has already completed 39 years and got 50,000 families rehabilitated. But we cannot leave the task till every river is saved and the earth is saved. So it is very, very necessary. And urbanization, industrialization, equal to development is some kind of very, very false equation that is in our heads. But your own Kerala survived through the rural culture and rural this thing. When the money started coming from Gulf, we never could distinguish between the rural house in Kerala and the urban house. But I think residents' association are in both rural and urban communities. That is great. And if you really assert your right, and Malabar Gold kind of corporates, no doubt, but still if they really promote corporates, then that can be a good alliance. Otherwise, the industries which go only after profit and don't think that even a part should be contributed, not donated, but contributed back to the society from where they earn, then what remains? So we need to have the proper technology and proper participations for this. I will only say that I really hope that through all these competitions, which is a criterion of modernity, symbol of modernity is competition. I don't like it. In our Jivan Shalas, we avoid competition. But students and teachers also say that in our sports, Bal Mela, the songs, the drama, everything needs competition. Then only people feel spirited. So I think you are investing and inspiring a spirit in through this competition and awards. And award gainers and award givers both really achieve a lot. That is our experience while getting international and national awards. But we don't consider awards as the final end of our work. It is a beginning. So this competition of the coming year will be a beginning to take up the challenge that the nature is posing, and also another challenge that is dividing the society. When residents' association have representatives of all castes, creeds and communities following their own religion, not just rituals, but the religions, norms and ideology of a kind which is not only political, then that is also a great achievement through these kinds of residents' associations as the real local self-government. I'm sure you will take up all these and really take up also the struggle, which is not anti-development, which is not anti-nationals. Many of us are sometimes blamed, but when the real picture comes out of a dam like Sardar Sarovar, which doesn't give water to the real people of Kutch who need irrigation, and it goes more to the 450 companies, including Coca-Cola, where we fought and we are still with the Plachimada people, then the truth comes out and whatever we say gets proved. So don't worry. If you have to challenge anything, if you have to oppose cutting of the big trees for a highway, you can raise questions. If there is an alternative, you can give a solution. It's not just law, it is a constitution, and it is the human rights charter that has to be in our hands. So to save all this, we have to really take up the struggle. So I'll just say few lines of a Malayali song, which really gives spirit to people like us. And this I have learned from the Green Salsabil school students like Adhina, who is here. Variga variga sahajare sahana samara samayama. Variga variga sahajare sahana samara samayama. Karalu rachu kaigal korthu kala nadakyu pokanam. Zindabad.